Let's get it started. Syracuse in orange. We'll begin with the basketball. The 13 seed, Boston College, the 12 seed. Syracuse, the most recent winners in this matchup, taking the victory on Sunday. Boston College winning big earlier in the year. Dominant camp inside to Elizabeth Bergeau. Kayla Ivey running the point for Boston College. Tiana Todd is indeed back for the Eagles, along with Daly Wagner and Teya Sidberry. He's been playing great down the stretch for BC.
How about a little welcome back moment? Bergeau with the big block on Tiana Todd. We know how much Boston College missed her. She leads the ACC in three-point shooting. She's a great player, but maybe not the start she wanted there.
Georgia Woolley leading the way in scoring for Syracuse. She starts alongside Sophie Burrows. Camp at the point, Isabel Bergeau, and Kyra Wood inside. Kyra Wood can really be a difference maker as well when she starts producing, averaging just under 12 points per game for the Syracuse team this season. Woolley, one of 3 Aussies on the team, along with Burrows.
Boston College in a 2-3 zone. But that's a well-done executed play there by Syracuse. To beat a zone, you've got to look inside. You can't just settle for threes. Well done by the Cuse.
Kyra Wood with the first points of the game. Dontavia Wagner answers for Boston College. She had 22 points in the first meeting against Syracuse this year up in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. You're really getting best on best now with these two teams at full strength. And that seems to be a winning equation. Syracuse goes right back inside to Wood.
Help side is just a second too late right now for Syracuse in that zone. Kyra Wood doing a great job of calling for the ball, making her presence known.
This is Sophie Burrows, the sophomore from Victoria, Australia. Teya Sidberry, averaging nearly 17 points per game and 9.5 rebounds over her last 4. Daly coming in to disrupt things as you get a look at Coach Jack. Felicia Leggett-Jack back at her alma mater. She was the ACC Coach of the Year last year. This is her 3rd season in charge of the Orange. Looking for her first ever ACC tournament win. Syracuse has lost 4 in a row here at the ACC tournament.
Syracuse was a top 4 seed last year with DeAsia Fair, but they struggled in that opener. So I know Coach Jack wants to get her first win as a head coach here in Greensboro. Cuse off to a good start.
Yeah, as a 3 seed last year, losing to 6-seeded Florida State, 78-65. That made it one and done for Syracuse at this tournament 2024. It's a 6-0 start for Kyra Wood, leading Syracuse. Daly. Sidberry couldn't quite hang on.
Kyra Wood has been everywhere, active on both ends of the floor.
Woolley, a little out of control, lost it. It'll go back to Boston College. Turnover is always something both of these teams trying to avoid. You see Joanna Burnaby-McNamee, Coach Mack. So yeah, we got Coach Mack and Coach Jack, just to keep it easy for all of us announcers. But she too is named ACC Coach of the Year in her tenure. That was back in 2019-20. This is her 7th year in charge of the Eagles.
And that was the season that ended early due to COVID. But Boston College was set to make the NCAA tournament in that season, which would have been a huge deal for BC, but they weren't able to do it because that tournament was canceled, of course.
And interesting to note that Boston College has won here. They've won a game at the ACC tournament each of the last 2 years. Trying to keep that up, but gonna have to find a way to stop Kyra Wood on this end of the floor. 15 to shoot. Woolley averages 16 per game to lead the Orange on the season. Good offensive rebound by Burrows. Wood. Daly doing the defending, and it's not enough. Kyra Wood has all 8.
Kyra Wood has come to play here in Greensboro. She has been the zone buster so far.
Foul on this end of the floor, first against Syracuse.
Jen, I like how she takes her time here. Uses that dribble, uses her pump fakes, figures out what she needs to do. And that's something that I think Kyra Wood has really grown in. You look at her increase from last year to this year in scoring from 6 points to nearly 12 points per game. She's become more patient inside, finding her spots, a team captain for Coach Jack, and what a start for her.
Incredible field goal percentage, one of the best in the ACC, in fact, just under 55% from the floor for the season. She goes to the bench for a little break for Syracuse. Verajao getting whistled for that last foul. Sanaya Wilson on for the Orange. As is Nene Njai, who had it for a moment, and now Boston College gets a much-needed bucket to snap a 6-0 Syracuse run.
That's a tough play from Sidberry. Sidberry's played great in the 2 games against Syracuse this year for BC.
Someone else is going to have to score for Syracuse with Wood on the bench. Not this possession. Kayla Ivey, #1 in the ACC in assist-to-turnover ratio, 3.28 on the season. Savannah Samuel, senior transfer from West Virginia, off the BC bench and into the game. 10 to shoot. Ivey picked up her dribble, needs some help. Njai has to get a shot off and does so, but hits everything else but the rim, and it is a shot clock violation.
And you can tell Coach Jack pleased with Syracuse's defensive effort so far. They've been great on the ball, staying in front of their man. And we heard Coach Jack say earlier in the week that the biggest improvement for them throughout this season has been defense. She called their defense laughable earlier in the year. I'm quoting her.
Yes.
I'm not the one saying that. And obviously you can tell Syracuse is taking more pride in their defense right now.
Yeah, that was on the media call earlier this week, and I wrote that exact same word down too. It speaks pretty strongly to how she felt about her team's performance early on. Knows they need to be better here, and so far they have been. Holding BC to just 2 of 7 shooting to start this game.
And when it comes to these rubber matches, Jen, I tend to think it benefits the team that just lost to play again. I was in that situation as a player before, but I think it's different when you get blown out, right? If you lose by 5 or 10, you're saying, okay, we can do 1 or 2 things to fix this. But of course, Syracuse coming out that blowout of Boston College on Sunday, it feels like some of that is still here in this game.
Yeah, if you're Syracuse, you want that good momentum to carry over, and if you're Boston College, you want to forget it pretty quickly. Burrows has her first points.
Jen, Sophie Burrows is becoming one of my favorite players to watch in the ACC. Just a young sophomore, one of the 3 Australians on this team, but at 6'2", she's so versatile. Can put the ball on the floor, can shoot the 3, can do it all.
Had a career-high 28 points at Virginia Tech. Made 8 threes in that game, did Burrows. Both these teams 6 and 12 in conference play. Burrows. Foul on the floor.
We're off to a great start here in Greensboro. And you know who else is off to a great start? Kyra Wood. She has come to play. Back for more.
The Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Ally, the bank that's your ally. This is the end goal here in Greensboro. Who is going to hoist that trophy? You're looking at the champions over the last 5 years. Notre Dame, the defending champs, coming in as co-regular season champions this year along with NC State. And in case we're wondering, the lowest seed to ever win the title, that would be North Carolina as a 5. Back in 1984, Tar Heels are a 5 once again. Obviously a different format now that we do have the double bye. And how important is it? Well, no team without that double bye since we've had it has been able to win the tournament. Woolley rattles it home with some contact. Timeout, Boston College. And Coach Mack is frustrated over on the sideline. Syracuse up 15-4. quick timeout there called, Kelly, by Coach Mack. What do you think she was frustrated about?
There is nothing that frustrates a head coach more when you come out of the timeout and you don't execute, whether it's offensively or defensively. And she was getting into her team basically saying, you've got to know what we're doing coming out of a timeout. One thing that teams work on all the time are looking at other teams' blobs, their baseline out of bounds. BC has run through this blob so many times. They know Georgia Woolley's going to come off that stagger screen, and she was just frustrated with her team, not ready for it. You know Georgia Woolley's going to pull that thing. She's Georgia Woolley. She's one of the better shooters in the ACC, so I know Coach Mack just frustrated. It feels like Syracuse has shown up ready for this game, and Boston College not as much.
Well, consistency is so often what coaches are searching for in some form or fashion, and that was the very first thing that Coach Mack talked about when we spoke with her this week, was just what's kept this team from having some better results. Because look, they were set up with 90% of their scoring returning. They have players who played in the system. They understand what she wants. And so a little bit frustrating to wind up where they did. Syracuse, meanwhile, under Coach Jack this year, not able to pick up a win against the top 25. Will they get that opportunity? They certainly will if they continue to progress in this tournament.
And they were very competitive in some of those games against the ACC's better teams. The North Carolina game, Jen, you did that game up at Syracuse.
They had it.
The NC State game, they absolutely had up at Syracuse. NC State just found a way to win. So Syracuse has been right there in some of those big matchups.
On this end of the floor, Kelly, it's an 8-0 Syracuse run. What does BC need to be better at?
Well, there's two things that's happening right now in this game. First of all, Syracuse is absolutely guarding the ball really well. So BC isn't really able to get in the paint. That was a good play there, but they need to be able to get more into the paint. And then the other thing, too, is for Boston College, they're not getting out in transition at all. It's been a complete half-court game. They've only taken 9 shots so far in the game. They've got to get steals and force some turnovers to get out and run. But Jen, Syracuse is just shooting lights out, and that's preventing BC from getting in any sort of rhythm.
Syracuse better than 50% from 3 in the game. That was Camp. That's an over and back. Tiana Todd yet to score in this game for the Eagles.
And this ball movement against that BC zone is pretty for Syracuse. You've got Woolley to Burrows. They're 2 better shooters, but hey, let's go find Dominique Camp, shooting about 31% on the year. She knocks it down.
Wood had Syracuse's first 8 points of the game. Now Sanaya Wilson helping her cause inside. Syracuse continues to extend the lead. Tatum Green, freshman out of Baltimore, Maryland, gets some more points off the bench for BC.
BC trying a little 3-quarter court pressure, just trying to find some more energy on defense. That's what they need. Offensively, it will come, but defensively, they've got to get stops.
Working the baseline, Wilson able to draw the foul. That is the first on Andrea Daly. 3rd team foul against Boston College.
And overall, Boston College is a bit undersized. They play a lot of players inside that are around 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2". Syracuse is trying to take advantage of that with Kyra Wood, with Sanaya Wilson. They are pounding the ball inside, and it's working.
Sanaya Wilson, a senior who followed Coach Liggett Jack from Buffalo, where she was before she came back to her alma mater at Syracuse.
Wilson shooting for the Orange.
And Sanaya Wilson now with 3 points in the game. She had 9.6 boards on Sunday in Syracuse's win against Boston College.
I like this from Syracuse. Even though they have a decent lead, applying a little bit of pressure, just throwing different looks at Boston College defensively.
And this is a real challenge to see if this Boston College team has grown. Can they recover? It's not been the start they wanted here in Greensboro, but Dontavia Waggoner makes a tough shot and one opportunity.
There was a lot of contact on this play between Verajao and Dontavia Waggoner. Obviously, Verajao looks like she got shaken up a bit. And Dontavia Waggoner, as she's moving to shoot that ball, her elbow seems to make contact with Verajao. It doesn't look like the officials are going to take a look at this. Generally, when you see that type of elbow, they do take a look, but they did not.
No three-point play to be had after the free throw miss from Wagner. Verajao will head to the bench. Good hands defensively. Sidberry active for the Eagles. You can see Verajao definitely shaken up.
Yeah, I think they should have taken a look at this because she initiated the contact, Wagner did, with that elbow. And of course, I know the foul was called on Verajao, but you can go see if there's an unobserved.
Yes. 7 on the shot clock. A wide open look for Kyra Wood.
Kyra Wood 11, Boston College 10. That's kind of where we are right now so far in this game.
Wood 5 of 6 from the floor, and then finally the Eagles able to hit on the other end. Sidberry now with 4. And Wagner can make things happen with her defense. Very aggressive defensive player, was on the all-defensive team last year in the ACC.
I think she's got to set the tone for this team. She's got to bring that energy. That was a good play there for Dontavia Wagner. She's second in Boston College history and career steals. She's got to help BC pick up the energy on the defensive end.
Shy Hawkins, freshman out of Mastic Beach, New York, on the floor for Syracuse. The block shot. Sidberry will set up Jakayla Thompson. BC desperately trying to get a little momentum in this game. Cut into that Syracuse lead. Sidberry out of control shot. And the solid hands of Kyra Wood finally bring it down.
You've got to have those layups when you're trying to cut back into a lead. It was a good offensive rebound. That's something BC hasn't done much of so far in this game. You've got to convert.
Dominique Camp says, keep giving me the ball. She might be the point guard, but she could call her own number for 3. She's now hit 2 of them.
Yeah, how about Dominique Camp? Known for her passing ability, but today she's brought the 3 ball.
And Sidberry seems unstoppable at the moment. She is going to demand that the Syracuse team defend her. She played really well in Boston College's ACC tournament win here last year against Clemson. Had a double-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds. Maybe a second different shot clock, game clock. Syracuse in control in this first quarter. Hawkins short. Boston College has started to pick up a little bit of points. Positive momentum. That shot is blocked though. And it's a 27-14 Syracuse lead. A Syracuse team that...
Reed, who was a great player and has played with the Australian national team. And now Steph Reed basically scouts the country for Coach Jack. She keeps an eye out for Aussies that she feels like can play Division I basketball, play in the ACC. And with Georgia Woolley specifically, Woolley was playing in some sort of exhibition game and Steph Reed was playing in it too. And Georgia Woolley dropped 27. And Steph Reed called Coach Jack and said, don't even watch the film, just offer her. Just sign her right now.
It's good to have that kind of scouting on your side.
So Coach Jack has Australia locked down, that's for sure.
Those 3 on the roster, the most of any P4 team in the country.
And of course, Syracuse fans will remember the great Tiana Monacahia who played at Syracuse and was an Australian too.
What a tremendous player and so much fun to watch her go in that Syracuse orange. And I also was asking Georgia Woolley and Sophie Burrows about they all live together, by the way, in the Aussie apartment, Maddie Potts as well. They said they pretty much picked up every stereotype. They've got the boxing kangaroo. They also have a boomerang somewhere in there, so just keeping all the Aussie stereotypes alive.
Of course they do. Why not? I thought your good eye, Mike, was pretty good. Thanks.
That's good, because I was pretty pathetic at trying to guess what everything else meant. They each had some terms they came up with for me.
And speaking of the Aussies, Georgia Woolley, she's just 1 for 3 so far. She hit that 3. She has 4 assists. She's been a big part of Syracuse's success against that zone.
Yeah, Syracuse 8 assists on 11 made field goals in that first quarter. And Boston College did not shoot a bad percentage. They were over 40% from the floor in the first quarter. Maybe picking up a couple more points from the free throw line can help.
Turnovers were an issue for BC in that first quarter, and Syracuse getting second chance points, being able to get out and run. BC has to make sure they take better care of the ball in the second quarter.
Seen Olivia Schmidt start to get some more minutes, freshman for the Orange. Help give Camp a break at that point guard spot. Inside, Wilson got herself around the undersized Thompson for 2.
The Orange are going to keep going inside. Their post players, Wood and Wilson, are doing whatever they want right now in the paint.
Pass back to the freshman, or excuse me, the senior transfer, Savannah Samuel. Hit those 2 free throws. Here goes Woolley on the run. That's just good defense. Sit up there by Tatum Green.
When we first saw this play, I thought they might call that. Sanaya Wilson with that is a pretty textbook hook and hold. That is something that they should have called, and called that an offensive foul. But the officials didn't see it. So Sanaya Wilson gets 2 points.
That's just going to be a little bit too much contact from Kyra Wood. Just her first foul. That is something to be mindful of with her. She is so important to the Syracuse team, obviously, with the way she started the game. 11 points and 5 of 6 shooting, 3 rebounds. Want to keep her on the floor. Just her first personal. Now, Boston College had won 2 games in a row before that loss on Sunday at Syracuse, including an overtime win against Virginia Tech, where that was one of the best performances in terms of just this team playing for one another, Coach Mack told us.
Absolutely. Sophie Burrows had 28 points and hit 8 threes in that game.
Burrows just fortunate to get the ball right back in her hands. Pretty sure Tatum Green didn't want that assist, but that's where it wound up going.
That play kind of sums up Boston College's day so far. This is good defense by Tatum Green. Gets her hand on the ball, Wagner does, and then she tries to save it. You never want to save the ball under your own basket, because in the end it can end up in the other team's hands right near where they need to score. So that's a freshman mistake from Tatum Green, but also just kind of shows the day it's been for BC so far.
Sidberry went on a bit of a personal run in the first quarter, 4 on the shot clock. And we'll see who it goes off of. It is going to be off of Sidberry and Boston College last.
And Jen, for Boston College, we haven't seen much of Tiana Todd here in the second quarter. It looks like Coach Mack's about to put her back in, but this is BC's leading scorer. She didn't play with a lower leg issue on Sunday against Syracuse. From all accounts, it seems like she's good to go today, but they need to get Tiana Todd going on offense.
Yeah, she averages 14 points a game to lead Boston College on the season. That number even a bit better, 16.7 in conference play. And it's a 47% three-point shooter. There's 3 points in the game for Woolley. Has set her teammates up a few times, and now hits her second triple of the day.
That's what Georgia Woolley can do. She can knock down the 3, and that is very tough for a zone when a shooter pulls up from that far away and knocks it down.
There are the first points from Tiana Todd in Boston College. See if that maybe gets her going a little bit. Woolley. Deep 3-point attempt.
Little heat check there for Georgia Woolley. I thought that ball was in for a second.
Todd. It's a long 2. Burrows is a good rebounder. 6'2". Pass up the floor, a little too much.
And this is what I'm talking about with Georgia Woolley and her range. It's really tough for a defense when you have a player that can knock it down from there. Because overall, that is good defense. You're up on Woolley. You know she's a shooter. You're guarding her beyond the 3-point line. but with her quick release, she lets that fly. It's really demoralizing for the team guarding her.
Well, she is one of the toughest players that Coach Liggett Jack says she has ever coached, and she coached Woolley at Buffalo as well, where Georgia was the 2022 MAC Freshman of the Year. Another turnover by the Eagles. That's their 5th.
That was the big issue for Boston College on Sunday, among a few things, but 21 turnovers that led to 27 points for Syracuse in that final regular season matchup.
25-point win for the Orange in that one. And if you wondered which game this might play out more like, that last game at Syracuse that the Orange won handily, or the earlier game in January at Boston College, so far it's in Syracuse's favor. Offensive rebound helps the cause of Cuse.
That is 10 second chance points for Syracuse. And we still have 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. They're getting after it on the offensive glass.
Winner of this game faces the 5th-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels tomorrow. That'll start you off at 11 a.m. Thursday here from the First Rising Coliseum. And Hawkins could not quite hang on to the ball.
It has been all Kyra Wood and Georgia Woolley so far for Syracuse. The Orange up early here in Greensboro. This is what the ACC tournament is about. 2 seniors who don't want their season to end. Kyra Wood and Georgia Woolley have come out hot for Syracuse. Kyra Wood's been dominant inside, on the glass, scoring at the rim. And then Georgia Woolley, 2 big threes that have helped build this lead for the Orange.
Well, that takes us to our star stories for players that have been crushing it, brought to you by Crush. Yeah, I think Wood and Woolley qualify for that here early on. 17 points combined between the two of them, and 7 of 12 shooting. Woolley doing it from the outside, and Wood bringing it in the paint. And Boston College in this quarter, Cal, just 2 of 10.
And you see that from seniors in this tournament, Jen. They don't want their season to end. Syracuse trying to find a way to make something happen to keep the season alive, go on a Cinderella run here in Greensboro. Georgia Woolley, Kyra Wood, both seniors. So they want to play another game. They want to stay another day here in lovely Greensboro, North Carolina.
And if you look at that on the other side, you think about Kayla Ivey, Andrea Daly, both seniors. Dontavia Waggoner is a grad student for the Eagles, so they certainly have some incentive there too to try to keep their seasons and careers alive. Camp. Everybody getting in on the rebound battle. Woolley flips it back. It winds up in the hands of Wagner. Tough take to the basket. She'll return to the free throw line where she had just 1 attempt earlier on a potential 3-point play that she missed. Foul on Shy Hawkins, her first.
Shooting 2 for the Eagles, number 24,
Dontavia Waggoner does a good job of getting to the line for Boston College. Over 100 makes this year to lead the Eagles. Well, coming up after the game here on ACC Network, our Nothing But Net crew will have you covered. They'll have post-game coverage, highlights, analysis, insight as we set you up for this entire day, entire tournament here in Greensboro.
And I'm coming, guys. I'm coming, I promise. After these 2 games, I'll be over there for the nighttime game with halftime in our post-game show. So
you are a hard-working woman, Kelly Graham. Like, happy to have you by my side for these first couple of games, and then we'll enjoy watching you and the crew all throughout the rest of the tournament. I see Ivory. She is always dancing and smiling.
I think that's just her default setting, really. I think Ivory Latta came out of the womb dancing, I'm pretty sure.
Will this defense spark some offense for Boston College? Really applying some pressure now, making it difficult for Syracuse to get the ball down the floor. Kyra Wood getting a little bit of a rest on the bench at the moment.
That's a great recovery by Jacayla Thompson. There was a mismatch. She was undersized on that defensive play, but she was active, got her hands up, got the steal.
Journey Thompson hanging on to the rebound, and a foul called against Boston College. Savannah Samuel whistled for the foul.
And Jen, another big difference in this game. Both teams shoot around 33% from three. Syracuse is 4 for 8. They've hit 4 threes in this first half. And Cam just threw that one up there, but it worked. But Boston College, they're 0 for 3. They've got nothing from beyond the arc.
Woolley. And guess who's back? Wood is there behind her, but it's a travel from Georgia Woolley. 6th turnover by Syracuse in this first half. Now I see Coach Jack got the orange nails on, ready for the tournament as ever.
That's something Coach McGraw told me. She'd always have her green nails ready for tournament time. I think it was a little bit of a superstition.
Well, we've been known to see a few of those, and hey, whatever she was doing, it worked.
That's for sure.
Wagner just turned the corner and gets the basket.
Dontavia Wagner has done a great job of getting low to the ground in this game, using her speed and strength. And she's the only player from Boston College that's really bringing a lot offensively.
Over 2 minutes now without a score for Syracuse. Camp working off the screen. Wood made one defender miss, and then Wagner came over to help, but that left Thompson open for 2.
I'm not sure I've ever seen this. Syracuse has 6 offensive rebounds and they have 12 second chance points. They have scored off of every offensive rebound so far in the first half.
And speaking of scoring, Wagner continues to go to work. She just needs to bring the rest of her team along with her. She's up to a dozen.
That's right, Jen, and they need to get stops. When you have this type of deficit, BC's figuring something out offensively, but they have to get stops on the other end.
Offensive rebound keeps this possession alive. Will Kelly's stat hold true? Oh, you might get 3 off this one. Yes, you do if you're Syracuse.
That is impressive. Syracuse making the most of their second chances.
And you think Boston College just a second ago, a 2-pointer away from making this a 10-point game, and now all of a sudden Syracuse opening it up again with the Burrows 3.
And Jen, we know the best time to shoot a 3 is off an offensive rebound. The defense is discombobulated. They're not sure what's going on. Great awareness by Dominique Camp to find her shooter in the corner.
There they are. Ivory, come on, she's standing still.
Ivory, no dancing right now? Okay, see? She can turn it on in just a moment's notice. Coach, anything?
I'll always love watching you guys throughout the year, and it's wonderful to have you on site here at the Coliseum for this ACC tournament. We appreciate our Nothing But Net crew. Syracuse, you'd think will feel pretty good about the way that this first half has gone. Scoring is slowed down somewhat, but that'll help. And now it's back to the largest lead of the game for the Orange.
Great take by Georgia Woolley, showing she's a lot more than just a 3-point shooter. She can put the ball on the deck and get to the rim.
Daly took an extra step and turns it over.
When you can shoot the 3 like Georgia can, they have to respect it. Little over defending there for Tatum Green. She's really pressing up on Georgia Woolley, making sure she can't get the 3 off, and that enables Woolley to get to the rim in just a couple dribbles and finish.
Syracuse Orange looking confident so far. Starting off this ACC tournament in Greensboro, they won their last 2 in the regular season, including on Sunday against this Boston College team. And Coach Jack is sitting at 399 wins for her career, so could see 400 if her team is able to win and advance in this one.
And Jen, she would be just the 4th active ACC head coach to hit 400 wins, joining Westmore, Jeff Walls, and Trisha Cullip. 400 wins is a big deal. That is a big accomplishment if Coach Jack can get that today, if Syracuse can hold on.
And you know, if you talk to her, obviously that's secondary, maybe even third or fourth down the list in terms of what she wants to accomplish with this team here in this game. You want to live to play another day. That's the way it works in tournament time. The task is tough when you play on this first day, but just have to get past the first. Willie now up to 10 in double digits. And Boston College is really going to have to find a way to come together at halftime here, come out with a good solid plan, maybe call upon some of the things they did so well in their first matchup against Syracuse this season, which was a 41-point win in Chestnut Hill. Sidberry, friendly roll for 2.
Great pass by Teya Todd. And Sidberry's had a pretty good first half offensively. She's given them some production.
Syracuse looking for the final shot. It'll be a foul first. I think that was on Boston College and Kayla Ivey trying to fight through the screen. Ivey's second. Neither team yet in the bonus.
Into the orange, number 14, Shy Hawkins.
Syracuse got to be aware of time here. You want to get a good shot off. You don't have to rush too much, but look for Burrows or Woolley to be targeted for a 3 here.
Burrows. Clock ticking down. Wood. Rainbow jumper off the back iron by Woolley and Wood doing the work. First down.
Jen, in that first meeting that BC won, they hit 10 threes. So that has been a massive difference for Boston College. They're 0 for 4, as you mentioned. And Syracuse, because of the way they've been able to manipulate that pick and roll and work against the zone, they hit 5 threes in the first half.
Quick foul called against Tatum Green for Boston College, who gets the start here in the second half. It's an awful lot of contact as Wagner falls to the floor. And that will be against Sanaya Wilson, her second. 2 very different meetings in the regular season between these two teams. I'm sure you'll hear us continue to reference that because it is just such an odd situation with a huge win in Chestnut Hill in January for Boston College by 41 points, and then Syracuse winning in their home floor on Sunday by 25 points. Each team missing a key starter, though, the team that lost those matchups. Should note as well, Isabel Verajao has not come back in the game. She took an elbow to the face earlier. She played less than 6 minutes in the first half. Starter at 6'4" for the Orange.
She's their rim protector, Jen. If I'm Boston College, with Verajao not starting, and you can take that as a sign, we'll see if she'll come back, but I'm attacking the rim. They do not have their true center and rim protector in there right now. Dontavia Waggoner did a great job of that in the first half, but that's something BC has to look at.
Yeah, Dontavia Waggoner leading Boston College with 12 points in that first half, 1 point under her season average. She pulls up here. Samuel couldn't hang on. And this was opening minutes of the game. This is what we're talking about with Verajao getting a mouthful of Wagner's elbow.
And Verajao was called for the foul on that play. So
insult to injury.
They probably should have went and looked at that. I think that elbow for Dontavia Waggoner could have ended up being an unobserved. But of course, Verajao, you can see why she's on the bench after that contact.
Remains unobserved, except by us. Wagner continues her good game. 14 now for Wagner, former NC State Wolfpack player. But that was back in 2021. She's been at Boston College ever since. Woolley. A good box out. Job well done by the freshman out of Baltimore, Tatum Green. Thompson has been running a lot for Boston College in this game. The sophomore out of Louisville, Kentucky.
All right, Jen, here's some life from Boston College. I know Coach Mack had some words at halftime, but this all started on the defensive end. Boston College with a great box out. They get the rebound, and then they're off and running, able to make something happen in transition. We've said it all throughout the first half that it's got to start defensively for Boston College if they're going to get back in this game. They've also got to find a way to get out in transition and run a bit more. And this BC team looks a lot more motivated here in this third quarter than they did in the first.
Three-point play complete for Thompson, who has 5 in the game. Syracuse still yet to score in this third quarter. Schmidt with the ball in her hands now. Camp on the bench for Syracuse. Wood got both defenders there, but not quite in time as the blocking foul will be called.
And Syracuse looking to go back to Kyra Wood. And the key when you're trying to take a charge, the restricted area doesn't matter anymore in women's basketball, so just ignore that semicircle. But you have to give the offensive player time and distance. You have to allow them to realize you're at least there. So that's why that block was called.
And how about that for a quick memory? A blocking foul and then a blocked shot by Green to give Boston College this possession. Having another try from the corner. Second time is good for Samuel.
Boston College, an 8-0 run to start this second half. Coach Mack's message got through to this team at halftime.
And their first made 3, Kelly.
That's big. They need to make some threes. With the way Syracuse is shooting the 3 ball, they're going to have to counter.
Foul on this play against Boston College.
That's a big block from Tatum Green, a young freshman that they really like. She leads the team in blocks as just a freshman. And then a good pass by Dontavia Waggoner. Savannah Samuel knocks it down. Boston College with some life.
2 fouls now on Sidberry. Woolley and Syracuse still a little out of whack in this quarter, being outscored 8-0, and they turn it over.
I mentioned earlier in the game, Jen, that BC is a bit undersized. When you're undersized inside against these Syracuse bigs, you have to be active and you have to be help side. And BC has done a much better job of that, forcing that tough pass right there on that last possession.
Verjao now back in the game for Syracuse. We'll see if she can make a difference on both ends of the floor. There is an urgency to the play once you get into tournament time that all the coaches talked about getting ready for this ACC tournament. Wagner. Sidberry had the offensive rebound, stepped out of bounds and turns it back over to Syracuse.
And that's Verjao's impact, just her presence. She didn't get a block shot there, but her size inside at 6'4", with her arms up as Wagner's attacking, that presence matters.
And then Samuel going after the steal, gets her hand to the ball and manages to get Syracuse and Burrows called for the foul.
Savannah Samuels, yeah, that was pretty clean initially when she went for the ball. I don't like the foul call on Burrows. I'm not sure why. I didn't think there was enough contact to make that call, but I love the aggressiveness from Savannah Samuels.
Second foul on Burrows. 5 turnovers in this third quarter for Syracuse, just 1 for Boston College, who have had their way so far. They needed a run, they've gotten it. It's 8-0 at the moment. Can the Eagles make it a little more? Sidberry, wide open look, Wagner, not for long. Verjao got there, but that will be her 3rd foul. Looked like Wagner, had she gone straight up with it, might have been able to get over Verjao. Instead, she's going to go to the free throw line.
Well, what Wagner did here was throw that pump fake. That was what counted in this play. You throw the pump fake, you know Verjao's a shot blocker trying to get the block, but that gets Verjao up in the air, gets her off balance, and then Wagner can draw the foul.
16 now for Dontavia Wagner, and don't look now, but the Eagles are on the move in this third quarter, outscoring Syracuse 10-0. And what was a 17-point lead at halftime, now down to a much more manageable 7. And if you're Syracuse, how do you change the momentum right now?
You got to take care of the basketball first and foremost. And Boston College called for a foul there. Syracuse has 5 turnovers so far in this third quarter. Because of that, they've only taken 2 shots, Jen. They've got to take care of the ball, but you have to give Boston College credit. They have turned up the heat with their defensive intensity.
And no question there that Coach Jack putting the ball in the hands of one of her veterans, her leaders in Georgia Woolley, who held on there after the tough foul, held on to the basketball, drew the foul from Wagner. Wagner's second. It was Wood and Woolley primarily doing the damage for Syracuse in the first half. Camp hit a couple of threes as well. Burrows, 3 defenders around her. And I think they're calling a foul here. May have been some contact to the face of Sophie Burrows. See, Denise Brooks was right over there on top of it in the corner. It's foul number 3 on Savannah Samuel.
Yeah, I think she initially made some contact to the face before the jump ball, and that's a big foul because now it puts Syracuse in the bonus.
The Orange have not been able to create any field goals yet this quarter, so getting a couple points from the line. They are 5 of 8 from the line in the game after that miss from Burrows. Sidberry, good recovery. Took her own ankles out. Can Syracuse match the intensity with which Boston College is playing right now? What a look! Wagner to Sidberry. You think they want to play more basketball?
They do as well, Jen. We talked about that senior spark, right? And that urgency, and we're finally seeing that from Boston College. This is a veteran team with a lot of seniors as well. And Dontavia Wagner has just been exceptional. There's Dontavia Wagner. And look, you've got Teya Sidberry making her presence known, saying, give me that basketball. And a great pass by Dontavia Wagner, the awareness to see Sidberry cutting. This looks like a completely different team, Jen, from the first half.
I mean, Syracuse led by as many as 19 in the first half, 17 at the half. And by the way, Verjao just picked up foul number 4. So her impact in this game has been very limited due to that contact in the first half and then some foul trouble as well.
And Jen, I always feel like leads are not safe in these early rounds because both these teams have had the same amount of rest. They're playing their first game today, and they each finished basically in the same spot in the ACC. Both have 6 wins, so they're very similar teams. And Syracuse felt a little too comfortable at halftime. Boston College changing the script.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to sum it up, what it's looked like thus far. Burrows very comfortable from 3 as well. That is her second triple in the game. Syracuse's first field goal since halftime.
Syracuse needed a bucket badly, and Sophie Burrows delivers. But Boston College, they're alive here in Greensboro. We see you, Boston College, 14-4 run here in the third quarter. Dontavia Wagner got things going. She was really good in the first half, continuing that play. BC able to get out in transition, run a bit more, and then finally knocking down the 3 ball, which they need to get back in this game. Wagner with a great pass to Sidberry. Jen, they flipped the script. They're +4 in the rebounding margin. They only have 1 turnover here in the third quarter. BC has completely transformed how they looked from the first half to now.
And as we pointed out, Boston College has found some success here in Greensboro. They've won a game in each of the last 2 trips to the tournament. Can they continue that streak and come back here? They've never led in this game. They've trailed by as many as 19. And for Syracuse, The Orange desperately not wanting to let this one slip away. Felt like they had it well in hand at halftime, but Wagner and Boston College have been bringing it here in the third.
Wagner is getting to the rim whenever she wants to, and she's finishing through contact. She's not just looking for the foul call. 18 points for Wagner so far.
Meanwhile, Kyra Wood, 11 points in the first quarter, has only taken 2 field goal attempts since that time for Syracuse. Burrows now has 6 in this quarter. Green, she's been a part of this comeback for Boston College. How about that assist to Wagner?
BC has passed the ball so well in the paint. They're drawing the defense and they're dishing. Obviously not having Verajao for Syracuse is big. BC's gotten her in foul trouble.
And there is your first 20-point scorer of this year's ACC tournament. We've seen some big-time performances in Greensboro over the years. Wagner is at 20 for Boston College.
Dontavia Wagner. Like you said, Jen, Boston College has played well on day one over the last couple of years. Dontavia Wagner wants to continue that, getting to the rim, scoring the basketball. Much more coming up after this.
Well, what are they? Are they in their
FSU.
order? Does it go 4, 3, 2, 1? Yeah. Okay. So. Settle in for the show here from Greensboro all week long. The top 4 teams will take the floor on Friday in the quarterfinals. How about the nation's #1 offense in Florida State? That stifling Duke defense, which brought some offense of its own this year. That brilliant backcourt, Miles, Hidalgo, and NC State, the team that snatched that regular season title, at least sole possession of it, away from Notre Dame with their win in that matchup earlier this season. So those top 4 seeds earn the double bye, and they wait and get themselves ready, Kelly, for quarterfinal Friday.
There are so many interesting matchups to come when you look at these next few days here in Greensboro. And of course, when you have co-champions, Jen, or the co-regular season champions, there's going to be the debate. Who's the favorite to win this tournament? I was pretty surprised by these ESPN analytics. Notre Dame the favorite, then Duke, then NC State. Where is the love for NC State here?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it plays out, if you're into the analytics or not.
Wes Moore's going to love that graphic. He's going to have it blown up. He's going to have it in the locker room. Use that to his advantage.
Wagner working the offensive glass, and that is 2, 3 offensive rebounds in that possession for Boston College.
We talked about how Syracuse dominated the offensive glass in the first half. Well, here comes Boston College. They've been so much more aggressive on the glass. It just feels like night and day for this BC team from first half to second.
It is a 20-7, now 21-7 advantage for Boston College in this quarter as they creep ever closer to that Syracuse lead that once stood at 19. 14 now for Sidberry. And she has reached a double-double, and the Boston College defense has gotten Syracuse all discombobulated here in the third.
I was waiting for them to call 5 seconds because Syracuse passed the ball to each other in the out-of-bounds line, which you can do, but it takes up time, and Syracuse just can't get the ball in.
Wagner, Boston College, that pass has been there. This time it's swiped away by Camp. who did a good job stepping into the lane, and then jump ball. Possession arrow will keep it on this end of the floor.
I love this pressure from Boston College. It's been so disruptive. Syracuse looks shocked by the way that BC has come out of halftime, especially defensively.
Wagner up over 2 defenders, doesn't matter. 22 now for Dontavia Waggoner. And some more defensive pressure. And I promise you, it is not that Coach Leggett-Jack brought a lack of emotion in the locker room at halftime, as Burrows has been all of the offense for Syracuse in this third quarter. I promise she went after her team and said, look, they're gonna come, we need to hang on, but I sure would like to know what Coach Mack said to her team, because they are playing inspired right now. Woolley. It is a one-possession game. I don't think many people would have predicted that the way it looked in the first half.
Not at all, and Dontavia Waggoner just continues to attack for Boston College, up to 22 points. And then if you can beat that pressure, you're gonna get open looks from 3. That's the risk that BC takes when they apply the pressure. Syracuse on the last 2 possessions did a much better job of attacking the pressure. The one way to beat pressure is by going right at it. You can't be passive. Syracuse a much better job in those last 2 possessions.
Woolley stayed with it, got the drive, and 2 points. Her first points of this third quarter. She's the first Syracuse player other than Burrows to score in the third quarter. Shot fake from Green. A little hesitation on the dribble. Decent look. And now it is 1-on-3 for Woolley. Who'll take her time.
That's the other way you avoid full court pressure, is you get stops. Because most teams, they really only set up their full court pressure after a make.
Sidberry. Syracuse once again reading that post-to-post passing off the dribble penetration that Boston College has used quite a bit in this comeback. Wood. Orange want a little more of that.
Syracuse back to targeting Kyra Wood, kind of wearing down Boston College a bit. BC was a bit sluggish to get back on that play, and Syracuse took advantage.
BC had it within 3. Another offensive rebound in this quarter for Sidberry, who makes good.
It has been the Dontavia Waggoner and Teya Sidberry show. The 2 Eagles in double figures doing the vast majority of the scoring. Sidberry also has 12 rebounds as well.
Those 2 have combined, Kelly, for 20 points in this quarter for Boston College. This is a quarter Syracuse might rather forget if not for the play of Sophie Burrows, who has 10 of her own, and 7 turnovers by the Orange, helping Boston College's cause to come back. Wagner, blocked. Good rim protection there from Wilson.
What a block from Sanaya Wilson, but BC struggling to get back. Help side isn't there. That's something BC was doing a lot better here in the third quarter. Help side was there when they're trying to get the ball into Kyra Wood, and then Teya Sidberry making it happen. How about this block? My goodness, Sanaya Wilson. Get that out of here, Jen. I don't want to see that ball ever again. Get it out.
Syracuse hanging on by 5. What is the whistle? Let's see. Was it a timeout that Coach Jack called, sensing some trouble once again from her team trying to get the ball in? It is. 30-second timeout called by the Syracuse bench. I mean, Dontavia Waggoner, you said it, Kelly, playing with that urgency of a senior, trying to keep her season alive.
She wants to stay in Greensboro, and she has done such a good job of getting to the rim. She's gotten to the rim whenever she wants. And when you watch Dontavia Waggoner, the thing that stands out to me is how low to the ground she gets. She's able to get that ball down on the deck, put the ball on the floor, use her speed, but also use her strength. She's very hard to stay in front of. And you look at her numbers, averaging 13, has had a really good year, but today she has exploded. Very efficient from the field as well. And Coach Mack giving her a little rest as we trying to get her that rest to get into the third quarter break, and then I'm assuming play pretty much the entire fourth quarter.
You do have to be mindful of that because your goal is to play, if you're starting out in this round, 4 games in 4 days. Camp. Foul called before Sanaya Wilson could go to work. By the way, 5 games in 5 days. I knew my math was questionable on that one.
I thought maybe you were just saying, Jen, to get to the championship game, right? Let's just focus on getting to the championship game.
Thanks for the benefit of the doubt, partner. I appreciate it.
I do think it's interesting because we always talked about no one's done it, right? And no one's done it on the women's side. But the NC State men did do it last year. So we saw that it was possible to win 5 in 5 days. We haven't seen it yet on the women's side, but I do think that gives some teams hope. Coach Jack was talking about that in her post-game or her pregame availability this week, that NC State did it, why not them?
Why not us? Well, Syracuse is going to have to figure out a way to keep control in the fourth. They've ceded some of it here for sure in this third quarter that Boston College has quite honestly dominated. Eagles have hit the glass much better. They had just 5 offensive rebounds in the first 2 quarters, 6 in this third quarter. How close will they make it heading into the fourth? An opportunity here. Tiana Todd missed the last game against Syracuse, makes a big bucket now. 4 points, Syracuse lead. 10 minutes to decide who goes on to face North Carolina tomorrow.
What a bucket. Completely different looking team and effort here in the third quarter. And like you said, we've got a final 10 minutes to see who moves on.
Eagles equaling their point production from the first half in the third quarter. Outscored Syracuse 28-15 over the last 10 minutes. So how will the Orange respond here? Both teams wanting an opportunity to get another look at North Carolina, the 5 seed who beat both of these teams in the regular season. 7 on the shot clock, all the way across to Woolley. Good defending by Boston College. Shy Hawkins had to put it up. And the rebounding continues to go in favor of Boston College.
That was an excellent defensive possession by BC, and they turn it into offense on the other end. That's Daly's first points of the game.
Now just a 2-point Syracuse lead. Boston College has never led. Syracuse had a 19-point lead, which is all but slipped away.
Jen, you said it, the rebounding has been a huge difference maker for Boston College in the second half. And if Syracuse wants to hold on, first and foremost, they have to take care of the basketball. They have had some turnover issues in this second half due to BC's defense.
Shot clock getting way down again, so it's another rush shot at the end of the shot clock. Credit this Boston College defense.
And who's stopping the ball for Syracuse? Daly gets right by Burrows. There's no one there to help. Daly pushing the pace. I said in the first half that Boston College needed to find a way to get out in transition. The way you do that is by being disruptive on defense. And Boston College has absolutely turned that around.
So the Eagles playing with all that energy on the comeback. What will they do here in the fourth? How about tie the game at 60?
Sidberry now with 20 points. And I'm curious when Coach Jack puts Vera Zhao back in to get more of a rim protector in the game. I know she has 4 fouls, but at some point, you're going to want to get her back in the game.
And Boston College just doing an excellent job keeping the ball from getting inside to Kyra Wood, who was eating them alive in the first quarter. Well, Tiana Todd wanted the lead off her fingertips for Boston College. Instead, inside, it's off the fingertips of Nene Njai. A very determined Sanaya Wilson, one of those seniors for Syracuse coming into the game.
Jen, we're tied. Boston College has not led in this game. They have yet to lead at all. And you've got to credit BC, down 17 at the half. Just the the way they flipped a switch here in the second half.
When Syracuse has struggled this season, a lot of times it's when that momentum slips away from them, and how do they respond? I mean, Burrows has been excellent.
Burrows has been Syracuse's offense in the second half. Shooting the three, getting to the rim. She's been really good.
19 points in the game. 12 of those in the second half for Burrows. Daly passes at the last second to Njai, right back to Daly. On the time in the paint, but the offensive rebound batted away. Syracuse will get the ball.
And I said this about Woolley earlier. Burrows is showing her ability to put the ball on the floor. Known as a shooter, known for her three-point shot, but you got to keep the defense honest. They're going to overplay you because they know you can shoot. You got to put the ball on the floor. Her and Georgia Woolley have done a great job of that.
Boston College nearly snatching it away. You gamble, and you should have paid right there, quite honestly, but Wilson unable to make the easy one.
That's Syracuse's second half in a nutshell right there. The easy ones, they're not converting, needed that layup, just things aren't going right.
Daly had room to move. Eventually, Wilson did block the shot. Burrows was looking, I'm not sure Wood was looking for that quick pass up the floor until the last second.
Both teams are making some of those risky passes. When you have a game this close, this tight, every possession matters. It's a pass like that, the Sidberry one earlier where she threw it over her head. You just have to say, okay, no. The possessions matter too much right now with 6.5 minutes to go. I know you want to push the pace and try to make that excellent pass, but right now you've got to value the ball.
And that's a defensive breakdown right there. Woolley got beat, and there was no one to help her. Now it is Woolley one-on-one the other way for Syracuse. No. Sidberry. She and Wagner on the same level when it comes to looking for each other inside. Foul as Wood and Burrows both going for the ball. And it will be the third on Burrows. Second team foul against Syracuse.
And she's got to be careful, Jen. There's a lot of game left with about 6 minutes to go. Burrows has to be aware that she has those 3 fouls.
Boston College a little stagnant trying to get the ball in. They get trapped in the corner and bailed out by the timeout. So we'll take a quick break as well. 2-point game here in Greensboro. Let's take a look at the dynamic play of the game brought to you by T. Rowe Price. How about the play of these two who came to play for Boston College?
Dontavia Waggoner and Teya Sidberry have been so good for BC, especially in the second half, Jen. They have been unstoppable. They've combined for 22 points in the second half. They have outscored Syracuse, just those two here in the second half. Wagner getting to the rim, Sidberry rebounding the ball. You look at this graphic. 42 points for those two combined, rest of the team 18. And the way you counter this, if you're Syracuse, I think you have to consider, because this game is getting away from you a little bit, even though I know you're up 2, putting Verajao back in the game. I know she has 4 fouls, but you need to do something different to slow down Wagner and Sidberry. Maybe Coach Jack wants to wait till we get to closer to the 4-minute mark to put her in, but I think getting Verajao in sooner than later.
Verajao, 4 fouls. It's been really limited in this game. Gonna go ahead and guess that's not the way it was drawn up.
And that's the second time out of a timeout that BC has not executed, and you know that kind of thing just drives Coach Mack crazy. And we see that view of Verajao. I mean, maybe she's just not ready to go. She took that elbow to the face, and I know Coach Jack's going to be talking with her medical staff about that. Maybe she just can't go. And if that's the case, then Syracuse has to find a way to slow down these players with the bigs they have on the floor.
Woolley draws the foul. Syracuse will try to do some damage from the free throw line. They are 7 of 12 in the game. Boston College 11 of 12 from the free throw stripe. And that is now 4 fouls on Savannah Samuel. And Woolley, the best free throw shooter for Syracuse. 85% on the season. That is top 6 in the ACC on the line. And maybe that's part of the message too, as you see Verajao over there on the Syracuse bench. Yes, this game has gone the way of Boston College, but right now, if you're Syracuse, you still have the lead. What can you do to maintain your composure and hang on to it here? That's a travel by Thompson. Things are starting to get a little shaky for Boston College. They've gone over 2.5 minutes without a point and 3 turnovers in that stretch. Burrows all the way in for 2 more.
And like you said, even though Syracuse trying to maintain that lead, you still have to be aggressive. I like that play from Sophie Burrows. She saw the defense was broken down a bit. Get to the rim.
You can see how spread out Boston College makes it in their offensive set here. Green wanted the 3. Wagner fighting for the rebound.
And some teams, when you have a little bit of a lead and there's 5 minutes to go, you get tight, you're not as aggressive. I think Syracuse has to continue to be aggressive. They've played tight the entire second half with that lead. They have nothing to lose now at this point. Continue to be aggressive and attack the rim.
Wagner on the line. Has put her name in the Boston College record books with her defensive work. Program record 99 steals last season. She leads the Eagles in that category once again with 64 coming into this ACC tournament. Now 24 points in the game, matching her jersey number. And whoa! Wagner and Woolley might be hurt. Woolley thought she had a clear trip to the rim. Wagner showed otherwise.
That is what we call a chase down block, folks. Dontavia Wagner not giving up on the play. Absolutely swatted the basketball. And Georgia Woolley, I think that is clean. I mean, she made complete contact with the ball. The thing that fouled Georgia Woolley was the basket. The basket was the issue for Woolley as she fell into that. But what a play by Dontavia Wagner, showing her athleticism, but more importantly, Jen, showing her ability to not give up on the play and continue to bring that energy.
4 points, Syracuse lead. Under 5 to go now in this first of 3 games today from the First Horizon Coliseum in Greensboro. Woolley is fouled on the 2-point attempt. Such a tough player. I'll have 2 free throws coming, sorry.
Jen, let's take another look at this. Dontavia Wagner obviously gets behind Georgia Woolley. That's where she starts. So she gets beat initially, and a lot of players would have given up on the play, but Dontavia Wagner chases her down and blocks that shot with authority.
if Boston College is to complete the comeback in this game, that could be one of the key plays you go back to, but also credit the composure of Georgia Woolley, who Felicia Leggett-Jack says she is just stunned again and again to see this player knock to the floor, get back up and say, I'm ready to go, coach.
Well, it also shows Georgia Woolley's toughness. That was a tough hit to take from the basket, and she gets back up, she stays in the game, makes those big free throws for Syracuse.
Todd. Short off the front of the rim. Tiana Todd's jumper tied it at 60. Boston College is yet to lead. Tried to cross over to her right, and then it's just a matter of staying out of the way of Wagner.
Syracuse has done a better job with the press. They're attacking it now. Instead of playing passively, they're attacking that pressure.
Wilson to Wood. No basket, Denise Brooks says. There's a foul before that. It is on Jacayla Thompson, her first. So that is now 14 fouls for Boston College. That means the next one will put Syracuse on the line the rest of the way. Burrows. One defender on her, takes her time, makes the basket.
It's a veteran move from Sophie Burrows. The way Burrows plays, you think she's a senior. She's just a young sophomore.
And Sidberry continues her incredible performance today. 22 now for Boston College to go along with a career-high 16 rebounds. Camp to Wood. And you wonder if you're Syracuse, where has that been? Because we saw it in the first quarter, but we have not seen it consistently since.
And that was a great adjustment by Kyra Wood to catch the ball and then in the air, adjust her shot.
Everybody waiting for the whistle. Finally, the held ball does come, and it's going to go the other way.
And Syracuse finally back to taking advantage of their size. You mentioned that, Jen. Where has it been for Syracuse? This is another great job by Kyra Wood. It just looks like maybe some fatigue setting in for Boston College. Help side isn't there as much. They had so much energy defensively in the paint in the third quarter. We're not seeing as much of that now.
Dominique Camp, one of those players who transferred from Buffalo to follow Coach Jack to Syracuse, a senior who's traveled around. This is her 5th different school. Wants to keep on playing in Greensboro, but so too does Dontavia Waggoner. She and Teya Sidberry just refuse to be denied in this game.
No other Eagle has more than 5 points. Sidberry has 22, Dontavia Waggoner 26.
And Wagner had just 5 points in that loss to Syracuse on Sunday. She was 0 of 5 from the floor. All 5 of her points came from the free throw line. A little bit different today. Still a 2-possession game. Under 3 to play in what has turned into a great first-round game to start us off here in Greensboro for the 48th ACC Women's Basketball Tournament, brought to you by Ally. Woolley just lost it.
And that's Wagner showing her defensive prowess. What a steal.
Wagner to the basket and one!
Go ahead and take over the basketball game. Dontavia Waggoner, known for her steals, right? This is such a good play to get her hand on the basketball. She makes the defensive play, and then she's off on the other end. How about a career high 30 points for Dontavia Waggoner? She wants to live to see another day here in Greensboro.
Kelly, we were due. I wondered, I was looking back as you and I were talking about, there have been some big time first round performances in the ACC tournament. Seeing players hit the 30-point mark. We didn't get one last year. Well, we got one this year.
The name Jewel Spear comes to mind when you think about great performances in the first round back when she was at Wake Forest.
Well, Cam Swartz, a former Boston College Eagle, had 33 in the first round in 2021. Delisha Washington for Clemson had 33 in 2022. And Dontavia Wagner's 30-burger today has her team within 2. The defense takes it away again. Syracuse takes it right back.
And that's a tough foul there for BC because you're going to put Syracuse at the line. That's not what you wanted right now.
And it's 4 on Wagner, too. Don't think we need to explain her importance on the floor.
I was going to say, it doesn't take a basketball expert to know Boston College needs Dontavia Wagner on the floor.
30 points, 8 rebounds, and she's made 8 of her 10 free throws. But Syracuse with a chance to open up a little bit more of the gap here from the free throw line. Sanaya Wilson, not a great free throw shooter on the season, just 58%. She's 2 of 4 today. So right about her average. And these are the little things that can come back to haunt you when you get into these tight tournament games.
And keep an eye on this, Jim, because of different scenarios that we've had here in the second half. Both teams just have 2 timeouts each. And that could be a factor as we get later in this game. You're trying to use those timeouts to advance the ball when we get under a minute. Both teams don't have that many timeouts left.
Three-point Syracuse lead. Boston College has come close. They've tied it. Wagner, no. Kept alive. The rebounding and the career rebounding day for Sidberry continues. That's been huge in the second half for the Eagles. 8 on the shot clock now. It's been Sidberry or Wagner most consistently. Sidberry, Wagner, the offensive rebound. She's got a chance to tie at the line.
Dontavia Wagner is leaving everything she's got here on this floor. Gets great position on the backside of that Syracuse zone. It is really tough to rebound out of a zone. Syracuse not doing a great job there. And Dontavia Wagner just says, that's my basketball. I want that rebound more than you. 32 points continuing to add to her career day.
What a performance. She can't tie it, but the offensive rebound could give the Eagles the lead. Possession is extended. An open look.
Jen, if I'm Syracuse, if anybody but Wagner or Sidberry takes a shot, I think that's a win. But how about you look at Thompson, Journey Thompson getting the bucket. Or Jakayla Thompson, excuse me.
First lead of the game for Boston College with just over a minute to go. Woolley is going to make Boston College defender, and they do. Blocking foul is what she wanted. Charge is what she gets.
This is a massive call here in this game, and that is good work from Dontavia Wagner, and risky, Jen. Dontavia Wagner has 4 fouls.
Yes.
You're putting your fate in the hands of the officials.
Wagner having the game of her career, doesn't want it to be the last game of her career. Good Syracuse pressure on the ball, forces the turnover.
What's crazy is it feels like Boston College has played so well in these last couple minutes. And they have, but they're still only up 1. Syracuse has every chance to win this game.
A minute to go, 1-point game. Boston College has the lead, something Syracuse has owned throughout the majority of this contest. Woolley, Woods calling for it. Good hands! Tapped away by the freshman Tatum Green. And timeout Boston College. How impressive is that from a freshman defender inside?
What a play by Tatum Green. She leads this team in blocks. She's been a really good defender throughout the season, and this is what you want to do on Kyra Wood because they've been lobbing it over their heads for most of this game. You got to get around her and get your hand on the basketball. That's a heads-up play. She did it without fouling. What an important stretch right there for Boston College to get that ball. And even more importantly, they called that timeout, and Jakayla Thompson did not dribble. So they should be able to advance the ball. I think that's what Coach Mack was talking to the officials about, but that was a good job by Thompson to just hold the ball as they called the timeout.
So you can see both teams now in the bonus. Syracuse still with 2 timeouts left. Boston College with 1, and Dontavia Wagner playing the game of her career.
This chase down block, that I know it's early, but that's going to be one of the plays of this tournament, especially if BC goes on to win the game. And Wagner has left everything on the floor. The way she's rebounded the ball, 32 points, 50% from the floor, super efficient. The defense that she has played, she is one of the main reasons. Obviously, Sidberry's been great too, but she's been able to get her team back into this game, and now they have a lead.
Rebound away from a double-double to join Sidberry in that category. But more importantly, an opportunity for Boston College to continue its success here in Greensboro. They've won at least one ACC tournament game each of the last 2 years. Looking to do that again here in 2025. They have advanced the ball. About 10 seconds difference, game clock to shot clock.
And you don't need to rush. You want to take your time here if you're Boston College, use a lot of that shot clock and get a good look.
Syracuse just trying to play straight up at this point, you would imagine. No need to foul yet. Sidberry comes to get it and took steps. Turnover, Syracuse ball, timeout Orange as they have the opportunity now to advance.
Jen, that is the last thing you want if you're Boston College. A dead ball turnover where you didn't even get a look at the basket. That was a tough way to end it there, at least that possession for Boston College. And now Syracuse advance the ball. They also have plenty of time as well. Shot clock is off, but they have 20 seconds, plenty of time to make something happen. I still would shoot it with enough time to get that offensive rebound. You don't want to wait till the very end, but I would put the ball in Georgia Woolley's hands, let her make something happen, but then make sure she gets a shot off in time for Kyra Wood and Sanaya Wilson to attack the glass.
Yeah, Georgia Woolley, the most dependable at the free throw line. That's an important thing to consider as well. If you put the ball in her hands, she has 16 points, just 4 of 16 shooting, though. It has been her Aussie teammate, Sophie Burrows, who's been really reliable today, 23 points in the game.
And Jen, that play we showed you right after halftime where they had Sophie Burrows in the screening action with Georgia Woolley, I'd love to see something like that. Get Sophie Burrows and Georgia Woolley in a pick and roll action. Make them guard both of those shooters. You're worried about Burrows rolling, you're worried about her popping because of the game that she's had, but I still want Georgia Woolley handling the basketball if I'm Syracuse.
Now, one additional stat I'll throw in for you to consider is that Georgia Woolley has turned it over 7 times in this game, and Boston College has come after her.
I hear you on that, but I know Coach Jack, I think she's going to live or die with Georgia Woolley.
20 seconds to go. Syracuse down 1 with the ball. Kyra Wood led the way for Syracuse in the first quarter. Burrows has been the best in the second half. Need a basket. Wood. Wagner defending. Who has the rebound? It is Boston College's ball, and they will call their final timeout.
And of course, Dontavia Wagner was in the scrum, finding a way to help BC get that basketball.
Ooh, and she is having a lot of trouble getting to her feet. I don't know if she hit her head on the floor maybe when she was going for the ball, or there were a lot of bodies in there.
Yeah, that's really concerning.
Yes.
The way Wagner reacted once she got up. But you know she's going to find her way.
Oh, elbow.
Kyra Wood just lands on Dontavia Wagner with the elbow.
Oh my goodness. And now Boston College likely, I mean, I cannot imagine Dontavia Wagner is going to be able to be on the floor for this final possession. So the player who has been the heart and soul of this Boston College team in this game, who has put up a career performance with 32 points and 9 rebounds, well, BC's going to have to probably find a way to hang on here without her.
I mean, that's the definition of leaving it all out on the floor. And of course, we hope Dontavia Wagner is okay. She was putting her body on the line on that final play. And I think just a basketball play. Wood landed on her. But we sure hope Wagner is okay. And to your point, Jen, now Boston College, 5 seconds left. They got to get this ball in, right? Syracuse going to foul right away. They have to make sure they take care of the basketball, which they didn't do on that previous possession. For Syracuse, I thought they shot the ball a bit too early, and I thought they had a chance to get the ball into Georgia Woolley. They just didn't pass it. And so when the ball didn't get into Woolley's hands, Syracuse just looked a bit confused throughout that offensive possession.
Yeah, things broke down a little bit, it felt like. Both teams going hard for the ball after it bounced free, stayed in play. There's Wagner and Wood both diving for it. I mean, those are two seniors.
The clock has been adjusted to 4.8 seconds.
That's just two players all out hustle, right? And Wood just happened to land on Wagner. And Wagner, yeah, Jen, I think you can't put her back in at this point, not for her safety, of course.
So 4.8 seconds. Boston College has the ball. As you said, you can imagine Syracuse is going to be going for that quick foul.
Go for the steal first, right? Don't just think foul initially. Try to find a way to get in the passing lanes, and then you've got to foul.
You want anybody but Tiana Todd if you're Syracuse. She's the best free throw shooter for the Eagles. And Woolley was going for the steal there. In fact, thought she might have had it. Instead gets whistled for the foul, her fourth. Teya Sidberry, who has been every bit the other part of that dynamic duo for Boston College today with Dontavia Waggoner. 4 of 4 from the line today, 22 points, career high, 17 rebounds. She is an 88% free throw shooter on the season.
Shooting 2 for the Eagles, number 32, Teya Sidberry.
Hits the first, and even if she hits the second, Syracuse still with a chance and still with a timeout. Three-point. Boston College leads. Syracuse will advance the ball. Where are you going here, Kelly?
Syracuse gonna inbound it on the sideline. I still, if I'm Coach Jack, as I said earlier when we were talking about that previous possession, I'm gonna live and die with Georgia Woolley. I said it earlier, I'd love to see it, that Georgia Woolley and Sophie Burrows in a pick and roll action where you make them decide who they're gonna defend, and at least have Georgia Woolley with the ball in her hands, but Burrows involved in some way, because those are two shooters you have to look at and you have to watch out for. And without Wagner on the floor, Boston College does not have their best defender on the floor for this final possession.
Syracuse in the game, 47% from three. They're 7 of 15 as a team. Very capable of tying this game up. Burrows, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Woolley, 2 for 6.
And Coach Jack puts in the third Aussie, Madeline Potts, who's also a shooter, puts her in the game.
Game on the line for Syracuse. Need 3 points to tie. Woolley forces it up. There's no whistle. Boston College